Good morning and welcome to the David and David on Real Estate podcast. Today we are on episode 176. And what an honor, what a pleasure. We have July Ono joining us. July owns over $120 million of multifamily residential properties. And July, we're just thrilled to have you on the podcast. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning. I'll just clarify, I did have $120 million of assets under management, sold it.
Amazing.
That's even
You
better.
probably
That's
got out
even
at the
better
right
too.
time.
Built it up and then to sell it, congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's a 20-year vision that came to pass as part of my 80-year vision. And so I'm actually surprisingly on track. So
Well,
everyone should have a long-term vision, minimum 10 years, preferably 80. That's another story. But we were talking about yesterday on a webinar. I was mentioning how I'm kind of confounded by realtors don't work more often with investors because we have specific criteria, which makes it easy for you to put the parameters into your search criteria, but we just go through lots and lots and lots of listings. Whereas I suppose, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just assuming that most realtors want to do the least amount of showings to get the sale. Whereas as an investor,
I think that holds through in any sales profession. I think the sooner you can get to the sale, the better for everyone. I think that's a general mentality, right? But I mean, there's a certain skill set that goes along with that, and you have to make sure that you're also matching the right product with
Yep.
the client.
So I think this is where the disconnect happens, is matching the product with the client's expectations. And if the questions aren't clarified, you'll be going around in circles. And so a great story is my protege. She came to me and asked, how do I become successful? You have to pair with a realtor who has a specialty in a niche market. And the thing is, I find that realtors who try to do a broad swath, they're not experts in their field. They're rather mediocre because they're trying to cover everyone and make everyone happy. You can't. So the ones who specialize in a specific market, well, that's the person I go to because they are experts. And so sometimes you may have several, I have lots of realtors, dozens and dozens, and they have specific markets that they look for me. Well, for Selena, I asked her, you have to call a realtor until you find one that will work with you. Now, I used to teach real estate investing, and most of my students will call 1, 2, or 3 maximum, and then come back and say, oh, no one will work with me. And I would ask, how many realtors did you call? 3. It's like, no, you keep calling until you find someone who will work with you. Well, she took me literally, and she made 101 phone calls. And to her shock and amazement, the majority of them hung up on her. When they found out she was a realtor in British Columbia, that's it. They didn't want anything to do with her. She's going, wow. So, after 101 phone calls, she became very expert at vetting a realtor, a qualified one. And she finally, out of that, she found 2, one in Edmonton and one in Regina. And she went on to buy over 80 houses. 80.
Wow.
That's what an investor does.
July,
And so,
what a great story. And so many learning lessons there too. And I guess as a broker owner, as somebody who, thinks of investing in such a big way, investing is such a big part of my life. What shocks me is that every realtor that she called, all 101 realtors, where's the disconnect? Why would a realtor not want to work with a client that has the vision and the fortitude to purchase over 80 properties? Like, think about how much business 99 realtors gave up and only 2 were successful, and 2 realtors, did 80 transactions over a period of time with that investor. So what happened to the other 99 realtors? Why did they say no? Why did they not want to work with these investors? And where's the disconnect?
well, that's the thing. these realtors were veterans. They've been in the business for a while, and therefore they understood the recurring value of a lifetime client. And so here they are, like most people are transaction oriented. And so I see so many realtors, they're going after the one listing. And then they have to do the same cycle all over again. So I'm gonna it's described to you a baseball diamond. And this is in my book that I sent you guys. By the way, you're free to share that book with whoever you want. They're free. I just want to spread the knowledge and help people. So this is
July,
yes.
will you do me a favor before you go on? Like, you've got such an expertise in this area. Maybe just take a minute to anybody that's not familiar with, just to go through a little bit of your background, including being the author of these two books, so they'll understand where you're coming from with this information, which is fabulous.
Okay. Well, it all started when I got divorced.
So that's the key to success right there, right?
Oh, I lost everything. And so I went to this traditional model. Robert Kiyosaki talks about, go to school, get a job, and then you're all set. And I'm Japanese. We value education. So of course I'm doing the whole thing that we're all taught. And at 35 years of age, my marriage fell apart. My husband left me. Yes. And the house that I just bought, I couldn't afford the payments now. And so I lost my townhouse. And then my employer fired me, all within the space of 3 months. And so it was quite devastating to have three significant major events happen in my life. And I took a hard look at my life, going, I've done everything right, supposedly. I should be having a successful life right now. And if anything, I went $40,000 in debt because I refused to declare bankruptcy, and called my parents, moved into their basement suite, and they were so gracious. They never said, I told you so. They were just so happy to have me back home. And I was able to just regroup and do the exact 180-degree opposite of what I was taught. So one of the first things I did was I went into acting school. I would never have done that before as an academic, but it's like, you know what? That didn't work, academia. I'm going to go on this side. And what was interesting is that prepared me to be a public speaker years later, right? It teaches everything about being authentic and connecting. And in that process, I declared that I would help my parents. So that's the big why for me. I wanted to help them out of financial servitude. It was awful seeing the pall, the angst that they had every day about finances. It was literally killing them. And I was helpless because I didn't know what to do either. So I went on a huge research journey of how to create passive income and didn't know how until I encountered Robert Kiyosaki and T. Harv Eker. And so from there, I learned how to change my money blueprint, because we all sabotage ourselves. And interestingly enough, David, I had a secret unconscious blueprint that prevented me from being successful. And what was uncovered is I could never make more than my father. And I'm going, where did that come from? It was just in one of those dyads that we were doing. And it was a subconscious thing. And it was a real thing, by the way, because when I became financially independent, my dad stopped talking to me because now I was above him. And I'm going, wow, that this secret that was in our family is real. Until he became, which is in my book, The 7 Profit Centers in Real Estate. I wrote that because it was my journey on how I educated my father. He wanted nothing to do with me because now I'm a multimillionaire. Until he became paralyzed, was in the hospital. And this, because of my financial independence, I was able to be at the hospital every day. And he was paralyzed from the chest down from cancer that had metastasized into his spine. And he was just, half an hour away from death by the time we got him to the hospital. So get this, he's recovering in the hospital and he can't move. All he can move is his head from side to side. And at least he can, he can talk. So I would sit by his bedside, arrive early, like around 7 a.m., and talk to him about real estate. I would educate him on the 7 profit centers in real estate. And he didn't want to hear it. So his first reaction was, I don't want to hear it. just like a little baby, right? And I go, oh, but his ears work. He was forced to listen to me. And by the end of his stay there, because he eventually went to GF Strong and rehabilitated, like around 4 months. At the end of that 4 month period, first thing he did when we came out of the hospital was sign the papers to release the equity in his house. And from there, we purchased a share in one of our most successful properties. My mother had already invested in the previous property, and that's it. It just retired them, literally. Even though he was retired, he didn't have to worry about all these bills that were mounting up because he had more money coming in. He's wondering, where's all this money coming from? Well, that's the miracle of how you can leverage real estate investing. And so I wanted to go into for your realtors, there is a cycle that I call running the bases. We all know baseball, right? And so you can give them my book, the Your $1 Million Network. Here's the bases, right? We all know this baseball diamond. And so I use it because it's a great analogy to see we're all at bat. We're all batting for a sale. And so it's what most people do is the cycle of you go to first base, you get a suspect, you get to second base, that person's now a qualified prospect. You get to third base, you made a transaction. And that's where everyone stops. They just run the bases to third base, run the bases to third base, and going, wow, they're just spending all this energy doing this. And what a really expensive, time consuming, and weary process. Until a mentee, a mortgage broker, saw and read the book. He's going, wow, I just spent 15 years running this rat race, third base, and trying to make a 6-figure income. And he said, okay, I'm going to create a continuity program. And I discovered this quite by accident because I met so many people, and I'm going, how do I stay in touch with all these people? My husband, Steve, came up with a brilliant idea. He said, you need to create a newsletter, July, just to stay in touch with people and make sure that, every month you're there talking about something and staying relevant. And he said, it can't be anything numbers related. It can't be anything business centric. It's all about creating a personal relationship with the people that I've met. And so that's what I did. Just 6 little articles. It's a 5-minute, 7-minute read at the most. You can skim it. And I create value. If something's important for me, and I've gone through because there's so much data out there, how do you weed things down to what something that's the most essential? And so I've been doing this for over 20 years. And every single month, I never miss it. The newsletter goes out on the penultimate day of the month, which is the second to last day. And so I do this because it shows the kind of consistency, dependency, reliability that I do in everything that I approach. And that translates into how I do real estate investing. I'm not a hit and miss kind of person. Some people do a newsletter and then they're gone, and then I'm not a sporadic person. I'm just consistent. And that's where the wealth is actually. It's in the follow-up. And so one of the great tests is, do you follow up? How well do they follow up? And realtors have a gold mine, actually a diamond mine. They have multi-million-dollar network already, and they don't know how to tap into it. So what I've done is I've created home runs. You want the prospects that you've transacted with. They've trusted you enough to do business with you. So now you want to bring them home. And when I say home run, they're your evangelists. You've converted them with your service, with adding all this value that they can't help but talk about you. And so they're the ones that go out and advertise for me. They're the ones who do the word of mouth referrals for me. I don't have to go out there per se and look for clients because they already have a pool in their own network. So I have something called the 3 degrees of separation. No one is ever 3 degrees of separation away from their millions. We're only like 2 degrees of separation at most. So if you consider that we all have a network of about, let's just say 200 people. And when I first started, I only knew 5 people. I was a hermit, can you believe? And so I had to expand my network. So I went out and did my best to find 200 people that I knew and got them into my newsletter database. And just imagine those 200 people know 200 people. If you've done something remarkable, they're going to start sharing about whatever you've done. And so at a conversation, let's say at a networking event, you know how most people exchange business cards? Now it's like Blink digital cards. I would always make an intention to find out one thing that's unique about David. And if you talked about your cabin in the north, guess what? I just write down cabin. And if you write things like dog or the name of your dog or one particular person, she just loved her tomato plants. And so I just kind of make these little notes and put you into my database. And that literally hours after the event, you will get a follow-up email from me, greeting you. And then, oh, by the way, remember those plants that you're having trouble with? Have you tried changing out the soil? Blah, 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 blah. Because I went online and did some research. And because she was explaining to me all the things she's done to save her plants, it wasn't working. So I figured out, well, what could it be? It was a soil. And so she just went, wow, no one even thought about that. And so those 200 people talk to their 200 people. That's your first degree of separation. Your 200 talks to their 200. So that's 200 times 200, 40,000 people. And then those 40,000 people, which is a second degree of separation, that's 40,000 times 200 of their network. That's 8 million people. And you know what? After 8 million, the third degree of separation, no way am I going to be doing business with 1.2 billion people. So I just limit it to the second degree of separation. But get this, if you take care of the 200 people who are closest to you, you can do all the business you want or need. That's the secret. And so take care of your 200 people, they're gold. And eventually your 200 people, you expand to the thousands. But those are your core people who love you, who admire you, who respect you, and they want to see you be successful. So all the realtors who've done business with clients in the past, do they go back and do they touch base with their clients on a regular basis? One of my realtor friends from a long time ago, I got a birthday card every year in the mail. And she was one of the first people to send newsletters, a physical one in the mail. She did it for 10 years. She actually helped me after my divorce to sell my townhouse, and she didn't take her commission. And that for the longest time, I'm going, who does that? What kind of a person will help me out of my troubles when no one else cared? And so I carried her card around for 10 years, and I vowed one day I'm going to help. I'm going to say thank you and make sure that when I buy a house the next time, she's going to get the sale for that. And sure enough, she did. So
Amazing.
that's what people do when they're grateful.
You know what? These stories and your experience is amazing. And I keep thinking about the 100 realtors that we were talking about that missed this opportunity when someone was going around. And it reminded me of that movie. I don't know if you've seen the old movie Pretty Woman. And Julia Roberts, is going shopping with Richard Gere's credit card, and she walks into a store and they wouldn't serve her because she looked like a lady of the evening, because which she was, and they wouldn't serve her there, and they snubbed her. And then she goes elsewhere and she buys a whole bunch of things, and she walks back into that store with all these shopping bags and boxes and everything, and just to let them know what an opportunity they missed. And I would love it if that agent went back to those 99 or 100 realtors and said, look at the success that I am, and I gave you the opportunity and you didn't give me the time of day and you passed on it. Like, what a missed
Well,
opportunity.
those 80 houses were purchases in only the first 2 years.
Like, that's
Okay. That
unbelievable.
wasn't lifetime. She kept,
And it's
that's the
100
thing.
realtors passing on that business.
Simply amazing. I can tell you those realtors became very wealthy.